Trinity of Truth. They call us proof. The strange, the weird, the odd, the real. Tom Zames, Divinely Sierra, and Catalyst Jones.
Trinity of Truth.
And we are hot. Speaking of hot, we have the hottest conspiracy co-host in the game, Divinely Sierra. We got my boy who actually got kicked out of Hollywood, and now his clone is running amok in the comedy scene. So we have the actual Ari Shafir here with us. And Lance from Upstate just got back upstate. What the fuck is up, everybody?
What's up, bro?
Hello.
He is. He's my clone. I'm the fucking OG. That motherfucker's not for real. Like I didn't realize it. I was like, yeah, dude, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Anyways.
It could be, because I believe that we all have, like, not all have. I believe there's only a handful of human templates, like the we fit characters, if you will, before you like manipulate them. And so you can only manipulate them in so many ways.
For sure. Yeah. I think he's younger than me too. So of course I'm the OG.
Right. So what's up, Sierra?
What is up? I am just so excited for this episode. It's so awesome to have you back, Lance. And yeah, good to see you guys. I'm stoked to be here.
Yeah, me too. You've been pumping out some content yourself that looks freaking fire. I'm loving what you're doing over there. And speaking of content, like, Lance is one of those content creators that takes this shit 1000% seriously and is just pumping out some of the greatest content ever. And he just got back from doing whatever it is that he was doing. I mean, the valve covers are probably not even cool on his vehicle at the moment, and he's here to do this podcast with us. So welcome, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. And what is this trip? Tell us a little bit about it.
No, well, thanks again for having me, y'all. I really appreciate everything that you guys are doing for the community, and thank you for having me here. I just got back from an overnight trip in New Jersey. I'm going to be posting some wild clips about that as well. But I camped out last night at High Point State Park in New Jersey, which is like the highest point in the state. And there's a 220-foot tall obelisk that's built on top of this high point. And so, like, talking about energetic points and, you know, etheric energy, things of that nature. But the dude that built it, of course, he was a retired military officer and then involved in the insurance business. So everything's all intertwined. But prior to that, I just got back from a trip in Florida. I was in Florida, and then I did some live streams in Georgia and Gettysburg on the way back. All those live streams are on my YouTube channel. I upload them there. But yeah, we've been all over the place, man. We've been up and down the East Coast showing all sorts of wild history and symbolism. And that's what I like to do. And we talk about truth, and we talk about health, and we talk about all the stuff that they don't want us talking about. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah. Well, speaking of going all over the place, we got somebody in the chats coming all the way from Spain. So thank you for joining us tonight. That is freaking awesome. When you were at Gettysburg, did you get to do like the whole reenactment watch party thing?
No, I didn't do that. So I just stayed overnight in Gettysburg, and then I did a live stream there and walk through the battleground. Now there's literally like hundreds of monuments through the battlefield, and it's a pretty powerful place. And the next time I go there, I'm sleeping on the battlefield. I don't care what anybody says. They say you can't sleep there, even though it's a national park, bro. Like, I don't understand how they say that we can't sleep on national forest. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's pretty wild. And there's this huge domed Roman structure in the middle of it, and on top of it is a goddess to peace and victory, it says. But all of it goes back to the Romans and the Greeks and the Egyptians. They're all worshiping the same kind of pantheon, and it's like repeated over and over and over again. But Gettysburg is pretty cool, and I stayed in a super sketchy motel that night. I was going to stay at a campsite, and they were literally going to charge me $83 to pitch a tent, dude. $83. And so I found a sketchy motel one of my followers did for me for like $67, and it was a $67 motel kind of night. You know what I mean?
I've been on backpacking trips for like 3 days or so. Those are always fun. Just like take whatever's on your back and fucking go out and do it. And that was like back in the day when we weren't creating content and shit. Hey, Tom, did you want to address this?
Right now? Okay. Hey, Zach, how's it going, brother? Yeah, so when you die, they bring you to the light. The light is the moon, and they show up looking like friends and family members, or Jesus if you believe in Jesus, or Shem if you believe in Shem, and they say, come on, come to the light, and they greet you with love, and they make you feel good, and then they show you some things you still need to work on. You did this to little Jimmy when you were 12, and you stole little Susie's backpack when you were 8, and all this stuff, and they guilt you into coming back. And then you agree to it. We agree to it. And we sign a contract. And then they wipe your memory clean, and they recycle you back here into Earth over and over and fucking over again. So that's the gist of it.
Tom, tell us who you mean by they.
They, come on, you give me the question that we hate everyone asking us. They, the non-humans that run this world, whoever they are. I don't know who they are.
Fair enough.
I don't even pretend like I know who they are.
Right now, that's the only acceptable answer I think we can give anybody. That's like a fair answer.
Yeah.
Other than
our people.
I don't fucking know. Not humans.
Yeah. It could be a whole cast of characters. They tell us it's the reptilians, which makes me think that it's the reptilians are just like the henchmen. So there's always more. There's always more. Rockefeller, Rothschilds, they're just a bunch of cunts. They're nobodies. There's people behind them, and then those people are kind of cunts too. And then it's like just a bunch of cunts, and then you just pull back all the layers, and it never ends. It never ends. But if you know their name, it's not them.
So, Lance.
How do I follow that up,
Well, you don't have to. We can get into our first video if you guys want to jump into the videos, unless you guys wanted to discuss anything that you had going on since our last meetup here. Sierra, Tom, you guys good? Just been shit posting and trying to change the world? I shouldn't say shit posting. We should say something different now.
Truth posting.
Truth posting. I mean, then it's like True Social. I don't like it.
That's true. Damn, they stole that from us. Yeah, no, just look. I've been, looking forward to these, and
oh man,
people, see through the illusions. So,
well, I figure the best way to start this off would be the first hoax that came across. Not first hoax, but the hoax that's gaining the most steam since our last episode, and that would be the what is it? The henna virus, the Henta Japanimation virus.
The Hanta, like a ghost because it's not there. Hanta, boo.
Haunt again. So this is my buddy Justin, and he used to work for Pfizer, and he was trying to blow the whistle on Pfizer because he worked right up under the microscope. And so he went to James O'Keefe, and so he also went to work for James O'Keefe and the James O'Keefe Media Group. And what was that? What was his lame ass honeypot show that he had before that?
I don't know.
He follows me now. He tried dragging me into a fight.
James O'Keefe. Yeah, we brought that up. What was his stupid show though?
InfoWars?
No, that's Alex Jones.
You said stupid show, so
you mean Bill
Project
Hicks?
Project Veritas.
Bill Hicks. Yes.
Yeah, Alex Jones, dude.
Yes.
Alex Jones looks like Bill Hicks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Totally different psyop. So
All
So this-
together though, same agenda.
yeah. So this one I'm talking about though is Project Veritas with James O'Keefe, right? And so my buddy Justin was working with Pfizer and was like, "Holy shit, this is fucked." And tries to get the story out. Then James buries the story. And like, anyways, it's a long story. There's a documentary about it and everything, but he's been on the show a couple times, and he breaks some shit down right here that I think we should all remind ourselves while they start to dump this fear porn about viruses on us.
B.J. Palmer, innovator of chiropractic, once said that if germ theory were correct, then we all wouldn't be alive to believe it or see it. And what did he mean by this? The fact that germs don't cause disease like they're told in our dogmatic education system. We are told to fear germs. We are told to fear God's creation of germs, when in reality, if you take an above, down, inside out mindset, you will be able to heal from within. That's why Hippocrates said, look to the spine for the root of disease. It's because when you have poor posture and poor nerve flow, then you will have less nerve innervation and function to the area, to your vital organs, cells, and tissues, and experience what is called dis-ease. And we have all of these so-called disease labels in society today, but they are all really just a result of dis-ease from nerve function. So what BJ is saying is that this education system that we live in, it's very dogmatic, and we are denying God. We're denying God of his creation, and we're trying to fix this creation and play God. We're doing our best. Like, the reality is that viruses don't exist, but even if they did exist and there was something going on with this so-called hantavirus, humans are trying to fix everything. And in the news cycles, we're already hearing that there's 13 vaccines being made for the hantavirus, which is absolutely baloney. It's all BS, guys. It's all a mockery of God. It's an outside-in principle that you must be reliant on man and not on the Lord, your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who came down and died for your sins. Everybody needs to wake up to the fact that Christ is inside you, and he gives you these innate healing abilities, and he's given you a gift to learn and to stand up against this crazy government and institutionalized world that is just man. So we cannot trust man. Trust the Lord, and have a great day, everybody. Those are my thoughts.
So I know that the topic of Jesus isn't amongst this entire panel here, but we can all agree on a lot of other things that he said, I think, and take a lot of good things. But I mean, this guy worked at Pfizer looking at shit under the microscope at the very beginning of COVID and was like, this is bullshit and there is no virus. So when people say trust the experts, well, there you go. We fucking know an actual one that's not bought off.
Nice. Yeah, I've been I just recently started following him. He came up on my page, and I like a lot of his posts, and that's crazy that he has that background. I didn't know that originally. But yeah, I agree.
His story is so crazy because he tried to get the story out, went to James O'Keefe, and they fucking shelved the story. And in order to like keep fucking stringing him along to like dangle the carrot in front of him. He's like, what about my story? What about my story? Because he was sneaking fucking filming equipment in there and filming what he was seeing under the microscope and like the vials that were glowing and all that shit. And they fucking buried it. And that story that did come out that was like, it was like a nothing burger story, but they made him like, because he was done at Pfizer. He's like, fuck this, I can't morally do this anymore. And so he went to work for O'Keefe, and they made him join Grindr and go on that date with the dude that ended up being an actual story.
Oh wow, yeah, I remember seeing that.
Uh,
Yeah, that was
vaccines. He said 13.
Oh yeah,
There's
13
that
vaccines.
number, not 12, not 14, 13. You know?
Yeah, dude, I was hoping
over and over again.
I was hoping you would break this one apart. Like, he said so many good things that I know you can go off on tangents about. And Level Playing Poem is in the house. We have royalty in here. I just wanted to let you know that Sam talked to me about your book about nuclear weapons not existing. So we'll be in contact very soon. Anyways, Lance, what do you think about this whole thing, man? I know that you're far enough down the rabbit hole to know that viruses are all bullshit from watching your content. You like to talk about healing. This is going to be a very panicky time for people that are not even falling for this because the world around them is in such panic, and therefore it's the ripple effect. So we're going to feel the anxiety of all these people. Like, how are you going to be going into this, brother?
Barefoot and like a ninja, bro. But legit, like, everybody knows that I walk around barefoot to stay grounded. That's why they call it the ground. You walk around in the sole of your feet, you know. And we're electrical. This is all energy. All of this is energy, and our minds are incredibly powerful. So, you know, just like you guys know, they pump all this negative rhetoric in here to get us all twisted up and push that out. So it's important to stay grounded. And I mean, really, going within is good, but staying grounded, and people should focus towards holistic care. If they want to get healthy, stop eating processed foods, stop eating McDonald's, don't be drinking Mountain Dew and ingesting a bunch of sugar, because all this sickness and parasites that eat sugar, and all of this is parasites, you know, when it does come to a sickness. So doing a parasite cleanse and cleansing heavy metals from your body, you know, all the stuff that goes up in the sky. If you get in the sauna, you can sweat that out of your pores. Your skin's your largest organ, you know, like, and I can go on a whole rant about all this stuff. I rant about it all the time. But you know, we're electrical, and our brains are incredibly powerful, and our consciousness is all very collected. So it's important for us to stay grounded and stay real and not worry so much, because that creates the reality.
Yeah,
For sure.
totally.
Yeah. Great advice. The ground, right? The ground.
The ground, literally.
The ground.
The ground. And I'm out hugging trees and stuff all the time, man. Trees are sentient, but you go out, hug the trees, being barefoot, and you get grounded. You got to bring yourself down. But like, it's all electrical. You can get energy from the sun. You know, there's people can think it's nonsense, but there's people that don't even eat food. They get energy from the sun, you know, and people can think that's crazy, whatever, but it's true. It's just like monks who can start fires with their fingers, or the people that can go in freezing cold water and not get hypothermia. It's because you can control your body. We are the original creation. And regardless of what anybody thinks about that, they have just tried to take our power away from us. And it's all about reclaiming your power. And I'm not perfect, you know, but you just always got to do your best. But that's the most important thing, I think, and the best advice that I can give.
It's not crazy either that people can go without eating, because eating is a program that's been installed in us. Like, I always say, does God eat? Does God get hungry? Does God like, oh, I'm fucking starving? No. So that's a program that was installed, and the people that don't need food have found a way to get outside of that programming.
100%, dude. 100%. And like I always talk about the monks. You know, there's a lot of them that can do some wild stuff. When you can shoot, you know, literally generate a spark from your skin or start a fire with your fingers, and that's not BS, dude. Like, it legit happens. These people are able to harness this energy in a powerful way. But just like you said, who created breakfast? Break fast. Kellogg and all these clowns that were pushing this, like, you're not supposed to eat that early in the AM, honestly. You know, you're supposed to be in a fasted state. And when you're in a fasted state, it ramps up autophagy, which literally cleans out your body and takes out damaged cells. That's a whole other thing. But I completely agree, man. It's all programming. 3 meals a day, where did that come from? Came from these same clowns that push everything else. All this programming, indoctrination.
What you think about that's they got us enslaved by food. So our lives revolve around food, what we're going to eat for that day. So you can see why they did this to us. It's because now it's something we have to plan around. We have to spend money on it. We are literally enslaved by food.
Yeah, and a lot of times the cravings that we have are parasites that are in all of this food, even in packaged food and processed food. There are parasites inside of it. And here in this Western medicine, you know, so many other cultures, what do? They do parasite cleanses all the time. That's not something that they taught us about growing up, right? They didn't teach us that. They taught us eat your 3 meals a day, and you got to make sure your food pyramid, like, you got to eat all this bread. Make sure you eat all your bread. You know, it's like, who, like, literally flip the pyramid upside down, you know? But the pyramid, the food pyramid, like, come on, dude, like, literally.
Everything's just so in our face.
I never realized the pyramid, the connection.
Dude, the food pyramid. It's like,
shit.
bro.
Wow.
Make sure you eat your bread. You got to eat like 4 loaves of bread a day, according to that thing.
Yeah, and all your grains and oats. And
yeah. And I just saw something about the parts per million of glyphosate. And people that don't understand glyphosate, they used to use iodine to stabilize wheat, right? And then iodine is good, and it's also good for decalcifying your pineal gland. They use glyphosate, which is a carcinogen, and after 3 generations, literally makes people infertile, sterilizes them. And like, they broke down the parts per million and Panera, Subway, all that stuff, and it's off the charts, like, with as much glyphosate's in there, and it's screwing everybody up. So, like, that's another thing too, with the people clearing themselves out. Get out. So another advice, since we're on this holistic thing, the best advice I can give to anybody is first thing in the AM, when you wake up, walk outside before you look at your phone, before you turn on any lights inside your house. Walk outside barefoot, and then you want to get that full spectrum light, sunshine in your eyes, and try to get some sun on your skin for like 15 minutes, a half an hour. Be grounded outside, because that's also going to help decalcify your pineal gland too. Same thing with staying away from fluoride, the glyphosate that's in all this processed food. Cut out the processed food, and that's going to help you exponentially. You can add certain other things, different herbs and everything. I saw something recently too about cream of tartar. Apparently it's supposed to help decalcify your pineal gland. But going out first thing in the AM and like sun gazing is a real thing. And I'm not telling anybody to go out and just stare at the sun. Like, if you're gonna start doing some sun gazing, which does help decalcify your third eye, you do it in the first thing in the AM in the sunrise, or in the evening when the sun set, because that's when the sun's at its weakest. But you want to get that full spectrum light in your eyes, and that's going to help decalcify your third eye, and that'll help with all this stuff.
Totally.
Very awesome. I don't think I'm going to change up anything, because every single week I try to look back on the week previously and did I better myself? And I'm just going to continue to do that. I don't eat right when I wake up. I love what you said about going and getting sun before you look at your phone or anything like that. Unfortunately, I'm clocked into a 9-to-5 job as the sun comes up. So I can't do that, but I could definitely, I take my dog outside to pee before I do anything, and I could do that barefoot for fucking sure now that there's no snow. And I highly recommend this, if you guys can see that. It says it's Cell Saviors, and it's the company from Pat Militic, and it's got everything that like freaking parasites you, takes out all the heavy metals and toxins from your body, and replaces it with stuff that your body is supposed to have, so you don't go into shock while you're getting rid of all this shit. Anyways, yeah, and when I do have to eat packaged, these guys know I make sure it's kosher.
Yeah, no goy slop.
Right? Well, you guys down to get into the next shit? I got all kinds of topics that we can jump on. I got all kinds of good things tonight. I do kind of want to stay in the midst for the beginning here on things that people have been talking about lately. And I figure our recent trip to the moon, or at least the people that are still falling for this recent trip to the moon, I guess. I got a quick little 1 minute and 40-second video that can debunk everything. So let's roll with that real quick.
Aluminum melts at exactly 1221 degrees Fahrenheit. Just keep that in mind, okay? And did you know that if you dip hot metal in water, it actually makes the water boil, right? So stay with me here, guys. With all of this being said, the Artemis II pod was primarily made of aluminum alloys. So the melting temperature is probably like 1,000 degrees. But re-entering Earth's atmosphere, the Artemis II was hitting temperatures of 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, over 4 times the temperature of the melting point of aluminum. And then, of course, when it lands in the water, being over 5,000 degrees, the water doesn't boil, the ropes attached to the parachute seem to be fine, and it even makes a very interesting shape. Now, why would it make that shape? Could this perhaps be CGI? I mean, how was the Artemis II traveling at 25,000 miles per hour? Faster than a bullet. That doesn't even make sense. And then the Apollo 11 landing profile, or trajectory, whatever you call it, for the Apollo 11 moon mission makes this shape. This is the official trajectory. So, with all of that being said, I don't understand how people believe that this is a real image of the globe. It baffles me. So that's why I keep talking about this subject. I made this video for entertainment purposes only.
They're always throwing wieners in there. Everything they do always has some wiener in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird though. Like, it's a man thing, I guess. I don't know. Like, all the food, like, just, I'm a man, I have a dick. So like, when they create these things, I don't know if that's why they're throwing it in our face, but like, I always laugh at that part in the movie Superbad when he's like, you know what foods are made out of, or shaped like dicks? The best ones.
Well, you know what the obelisk goes back to, right?
Let's go.
Well, it goes back to Osiris's shaft. That's why they erect obelisks all over the place. So it's literally a crank. And like, so them putting that up, and like the story, Isis and Osiris is chopped into a bunch of pieces, spread all over the place. And Isis couldn't find his wiener, so she made a big golden obelisk. And that's where it all comes from. And like, I go to these state parks and I ask these guys, I'm like, okay, yeah, you're telling me all these facts, but why do they put an obelisk here? And they're like, oh, that's a great question. I'm like, that's what I'm asking. Well, because they're wieners. Like, it's literally a wiener. So them doing that, and it's like the same kind of thing, you know? Like, they put that everywhere. I don't know, man.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's a mocking. It's Osiris's dick, and they put it everywhere. Washington Monument, Eiffel Tower, all those obelisks.
Bro.
So it's diminishing the feminine because it's only propping up and has the masculine energies, but they're always downplaying and deleting the feminine from everything, from every aspect in this reality.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at all of like the canonical texts and religions, it's all masculine figures. All saviors and messiahs are masculine. They always leave out the feminine. If you look at the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Gospel of Peter, Gnosticism, they all have feminine aspects, but all of those aspects have been removed from Abrahamic religions, from all belief systems. So, we live in a patriarchy, a wounded patriarchy, and it's completely removed the feminine aspect from it, which is again, those parts of our faith, those parts of our connection to source, those parts of our divinity that they, don't want us to be able to tap into, and they don't want us to be able to connect with that, because that centers earth, it centers children, it has a more nurturing aspect to it. There's not levels of hierarchy, so they removed that from as much of our his story and belief systems and religions and all of that.
I think they're trying to remove all gender altogether. At least that's been their push for the last 10 years, I would say. With the transgender push, I would say it's just to remove it altogether, so that there is a blending of everything, blending of races, blending of gender.
I'm not really even talking about gender necessarily. I'm more so talking about the
energy of it.
Energy, yeah, that, because we all have the divine feminine and masculine, yin and yang energies, but if they're not balanced, then we're out of harmony.
Yeah, she's right, 100%. And intuition is the big feminine trait that they want us disconnected from. But it's all about being out of balance, right? And you hear them talk about the left-hand path because they got everybody under the right-hand path, and what you need is that balance. You need both, and you need that balance. So true divinity is when we are completely balanced, 50-50, our masculine and our feminine, and that doesn't have anything to do with being gay or nothing like that. That's just the truth of us, is that complete balance of masculine and feminine within us. And then that's when you're supposed to go out and find another complete being, and then you join union. That's the true twin flame. So the twin flame that we've been told about is completely bullshit as well, the mainstream twin flame concept. So yeah, I agree 100% with Sierra.
Same. And I didn't mean to go off over there either, but I just meant on surface level. But and I skipped over this because I wanted to come back to it, so and give you a chance to address this. Sierra, this is for you.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I'm not like an expert in psychedelics by any means, but I have had great experiences with mushrooms and acid, that have helped me in the most constructive sense, kind of work with my ego and seeing past it and moving out of the small I as Sierra into the larger I of our eternal essence, our eternal nature. I did have an experience with mushrooms where I saw a reptilian being, and that was interesting because it kind of connected me to that fourth dimension, and I could see the grid and everything, and that was kind of what helped me with my ego, because it just makes you see bigger than this 3D reality that we're in. But I want to say the best thing that has come from mushrooms in my life is microdosing, because I had horrific postpartum depression after having my son. I mean, I had him the very beginning of COVID, March of 2020. My family couldn't fly out. I was all, didn't have like a support system, and it was just really tough. And so I started microdosing with mushrooms, and it was like it connected me to that inner channel, to my own source that allowed me to be guided back to my own well-being, and kind of disconnecting from the programming of that depression. So I fully love and am grateful for psychedelics, but I don't really do anything with them much anymore. I feel like there is kind of a point that you can reach where it's not necessarily necessary for your spiritual growth any longer.
Bam. Perfect. Let's address this one and then we'll move on. I'm in full belief that it's all fake. However, I struggle because it was my father's company that got the contract to machine the Sicilia tiles.
Silica.
Easy for me to say. Tiles for the space shuttle. And that's exactly why they do that, is they compartmentalize these people and they think that they're a part of something. and then they tell their friends, and their family is like, well, that's ridiculous. My dad is blah, 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 blah. I am a perfect example of that because my grandmother worked for and retired from JPL. And so I grew up with getting fed these 8x10 glossies that I was told came from these satellites. And like once a month, my grandma would send me a manila envelope with new satellite photos, right? And so to this day, she is totally on board with NASA's story. And that's because they compartmentalize even the people that work there. And so now she has family members that even battle me, is like, how could you even think that grandma worked there?
And the space shuttle, it took off. It just didn't go anywhere. So, you know, whatever, they ordered parts to build a spaceship that fucking takes off and fucking lands when nobody's looking. You know, big deal. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Tom, there is one dedicated to you, and we'll get to that after we get into our next video. And this is something that is starting to resurface now, and it's kind of a common theme in this show, I think, is when we start to see something overwhelm our feeds. And I think that this whole alien disclosure thing is one of the things. And Tom, this happened right in your backyard, and now it's resurfacing again. So let's see what they're talking about.
Guys, I don't have much time, so I just wanted to show you a clip of what I saw. Listen, the people.
Individual named Fitz. My testimony will touch on this matter, and I've been asked to approach with extreme caution. The incident at the Bayside Marketplace in Miami on January 1st is currently classified, and I've been instructed to refrain from divulging certain details due to the ongoing nature of the investigation. However, in the interest of transparency, I will provide what little information I am authorized to share. A New York resident we will be referring to as Fitz was indeed present at the Bayside Marketplace on the night of the incident. The DOD has confirmed that Fitz may have witnessed something classified. Reports indicate that this individual captured footage of the event in question, footage that, as of now, remains classified and has not been retrieved by the federal government. This footage, if revealed, could have profound implications, not only for national security, but for how we understand these events. The American people are not aware, but due to government protocols, we have never had a situation where a civilian has had footage of this kind.
So I don't know, man. I can put a suit and tie on and get 3 minutes in front of a fucking podium and make a viral clip. Why did it say VHS? Who in the fuck recorded with the VHS at the fucking mall? Even in the 90s, we had high 8.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing that took place. I forget, what was that, like 3 years ago? Miami Mall? 2 years ago? 3?
Less
Yeah.
than that, I think. Like
Two. Yeah, 2 years ago. It was fun, man. I mean, I'm calling this episode Conspiracy Christmas because we are kind of all over the place. But like, Lance, what are your thoughts on this whole like push for alien disclosure? And then we'll get into like what our thoughts are.
Well, I think that all this stuff has been here forever. And I just say it's aliens, you know, like there's stuff, there's inner Earth, you know, they don't talk about that. They don't talk about what's beyond the ice wall. And I don't know what people think about all that stuff, but I think that there's been a lot of entities here. And just like Katy Perry wearing that 6-finger glove at the Met Gala the other day, like Nephilim giants and stuff, they were here, 6 fingers and 6 toes, double rows of teeth. That's why all these statues that we go see, they don't have heads or arms, because their heads look different. St. Christopher was a dog head. Esau, like we were talking before, Sasquatch. Esau was born with a bunch of hair all over the place. So it's just like with the Greys, or whatever they want to be. I mean, and the reptilians and all that stuff. It's all stuff that was here, but they want to say it came from someplace else, but it didn't come from anywhere else. It's been here the whole time, And so that's and so all of this stuff, Blue Beam, all these different psyops that are going on. I don't know. Our own government has contracts or has agreements with these entities, and I think that's where the abductions come from and all that nonsense. It's our own government doing it with UAPs and UFOs and all that kind of stuff. But that's my thought about it.
Man, I just thought of a good song. Single during PSYOP season. But yeah, man, I'm right there. Like, I agree with every fucking thing that you just said. I don't know if you guys want to dive a little bit more into that.
I agree with everything you said. I actually think that it's more than contracts. I think the government is them. They're
exactly
in the government. Yeah. So yeah. But I don't know what else I could add to that.
Well, like, let's stay on this topic. I have a video and I didn't watch the whole thing because it's 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And so we probably won't get through the whole thing. But like, how do you guys feel before I play this video about maybe not necessarily clones replacing these celebrities? I mean, that's happening as well. But what if they are replacing them with these ancient ones or shapeshifters, or do you think that's a possibility?
Well, yeah. So one thing, like, I can speak on is I'm sure y'all have probably heard before of the Wendigo, Native American lore, especially up here in the Adirondacks in upstate New York. They talk about shapeshifters and things of that nature. So that's definitely a possibility. And then who's to say that these people aren't robots too? I mean, not for nothing, and I think that's the whole next thing is them trying to upload consciousness that way, and that's how they're trying to steal it. But that's a whole different other tangent. But I think shapeshifters are real, for sure.
Well, I'm not really sure what the fuck Jelly Roll is, but I used to be a big Haystack fan back in the day. And Jelly Roll came up underneath Haystack. And I remember there was like a documentary that Haystack had made himself. And it was before Jelly Roll, nobody knew who the fuck he was, right? And he was a big boy his entire fucking life. And so this whole transformation, apparently without gastric bypass surgery and all this other shit. But I don't know. There's theories out there. And so I titled this video Jelly Rolled.
Jelly Roll is harvesting everybody's energy and souls. Now, I don't know what they did to the old Jelly Roll, but we have to understand that this is a Nephilim clown spirit that basically has taken over the show. It's important to understand that Jelly Roll is a male warlock, whether or not he has the weight or he lost it. Jelly Roll has been involved in some pretty heinous activities after each show. All you have to do is look into the orgies and the parties that go on in Hollywood. And just taking a look at the guy even before the glow up or the big change, he was practicing some pretty dark and heavy stuff. Just look at him. I'm not trying to hate on Jelly Roll, but just look at how much worse he looks now, even though he looks better. He looked better before, because at least he looked kind of genuine and sincere instead of being looking like a fake Nickelodeon character with a Jody High Roller smile. Those don't even look like real teeth, okay? Kind of like Kanye's teeth before the fake Kanye took over the real Kanye. So let's go ahead and take a look at the comments of the latest show that they've done.
Wow, Jelly Roll and Brandon Lake, they look like paradise.
This is a false form of worship that everybody needs to recognize, okay? Because y'all are being bamboozled spiritually. And when you start to look at some of the comments, you're like, well, I don't think something is a little aghast with Jelly. Then you see these other comments and you're like, wow, this person is completely deceived and they can't see. And then we have people, we have to understand, they're praying. This is the same issue that the disciples had because of their influence. People were always trying, without knowing it, they were trying to worship the other men, right? It's very important not to worship other men, because most people who go to these concerts, the closest thing that they have seen to what the Lord is these concerts. And this is a false, this is probably one of the worst things you could do, is go to a Brandon Lake Jelly Roll concert, because both of them sold out. So I'll probably use that for the title of my next video. But the point is that everybody who goes to these concerts for what, an hour or two or however long it is, basically they're put under a trance by these Nephilim spirits. And remember, they are very good at making you think that they're just like politicians. Trump, oh yeah, I worship God. Listen, what it comes down to is any Kenneth Copeland could do exactly what Jelly... Oh wait, they already are doing exactly what Jelly Roll is doing. They're profiting off of the ignorance of the people spiritually. So this is why it's important. Avoid the madness. And listen, the herbs will lend the curse. Revelations 22:3. This kind of dis-ease only leaves by fasting and prayer. Matthew 17:21. So if you're suffering from anything, start to follow what's actually written in the Bible instead of praying to a man on stage or a white bearded figurine of a man in the skies, because this is how you actually start to change. JacobsLink.com for everything you need to start healing, or hit the link in the bio.
All right. I played your video. You guys got those plugs. He got some in on me, damn it. James from Plunder World is in the building. Guys, if you watched, I think it was episode 3 or 4, we opened up one of these packages, and fuck it, we could do one right here. And these are so awesome because, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to open it. Do I have a knife? Yes, I do. My teeth suck, or else I'd try. But man, I don't understand how this guy knows all this stuff. He is better than a human encyclopedia because he knows actual history behind the lie of the history that is told. And so what do we got here? It looks like so Benjamin Franklin with the East India Company, and he does all the artwork himself too. So like he'll take pictures and photographs and then throw it all into Adobe Photoshop, and like he spends a lot of time putting these together, and they all look freaking fantastic. And that's the eye-catching part about it. But the real gold in these things is the back of them is all of the information about that specific topic. So for instance, this one is the East India Company, and it's got a picture of Benjamin Franklin on it with what appears to be the flat map. And Benjamin Franklin stated, while the field of your flag must be new in details of its design, I refer to the flag of East India Company. The company would be a tremendous ally. The East India Company trafficked in many goods, official well as illicit. Opium was such a profitable route from Turkey to China that Russell and Company merged with other companies to form an opium conglomerate, and then it goes on. And so if you guys want to learn about like anything and you're just like, I don't know what to learn about, like you open one of these packages and you become an expert in the topic that is something nobody else knows about. And it's freaking awesome. So you guys can go, if you want to put your website in the chats, brother, I believe it's plunderworld.com, but it could be something totally different. But at plunderworld on Instagram, and he's been on the show, so I have links in one of the White Rabbit episodes if you guys want to follow along. So yeah, sorry about that. Let's get back into the video. What did you guys think about that shit?
I mean, I've seen Jelly Roll lately, and to me, it looked like he got grilled. It's kind of like that same thing with Ariana Grande. It just looks like there's something that's siphoning the life force out of him. So I don't know if that's the case, but when I see those celebrities come in and they're full of life, they appear to be full of life. They're not someone that just has kind of always been in that group, which, maybe he has been. Maybe he's always been a part of it. But if there are people that are coming in and they're being initiated, then I think a lot of the time they get vrilled and something kind of takes them over, which I was looking at the comments and someone had mentioned the graphene oxide being pumped into us for the consciousness implants and to connect our consciousness, basically our nervous system, to like the 6G and stuff. So they have that technology and they're able to kind of I don't know if that's the same technology being used with these celebrities or not, but they definitely have the technology to kind of take over a human vessel, a consenting human vessel. It appears to be. So for Jelly Roll and a lot of those celebrities, to me, it just looks like something that's siphoning their energy that has taken over that human vessel to be a part of the agenda. And it's funny because Jelly Roll's wife, Bunny XO, had a podcast with Jeffree Star, and Jeffree Star said blatant that he had been asked to go full reptilian. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not, but he tells Bunny XO that he was asked to go full reptilian and that he declined. And you can just kind of see that Bunny XO looked a little bit uncomfortable talking about it. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're all, again, just in on it as the show together. But if not, and he was, just a regular human beforehand where it looks like he had that life force, then to me, it looks like he might have something that's siphoning that life force out of him and controlling his vessel.
Donut, I need to get him back on the show, actually, said Jelly Roll has the Sanpuko eyes of tragedy waiting for his demise. And what's crazy is, I don't know if you guys seen this blonde girl from Tennessee, and she makes hip hop, and she's been exposing him for her and his wife doing a bunch of shit. And she's supposed to be coming on White Rabbit, but I mean, that's part of the deal, right? Is a public humiliation ritual. And I don't know like if she's part of it or not, but she's certainly gaining some steam and some fame off of this whole thing. And getting some very high influence people talking about it as well.
What's she doing?
So she claims that Jelly Roll's wife is a witch, which I fully think, absolutely. And she got jacked, like stole her music from. And I don't want to speak out of turn because I only saw this one time and I'm not sure if she's speaking about it again, but was sexually assaulted by both of them. And it's talked about on big shows because his wife addressed it on a big show. And she was making fun of the size of his dick. And the wife was like on a big show and was like, well, when you lose a lot of weight, things reappear or some shit like that. So I don't know, like there's some whole crazy shit going on. Lives are being threatened and whatnot. And I don't know, man. It's just like the up and the fall, right? And when I was talking to her about coming on the show, I asked her if she knew Haystack. And she said that, yeah, she had seen him a couple of times and that he's really nice. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that Jelly Roll rolled on Haystack and took his place, like kind of like a Kurt Cobain / whatever that guy's name is.
Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl, like the one that actually has talent is taken out of the spotlight, and the puppet, the one that's going to be controlled, is placed in front of everybody that doesn't have half the talent, by the way.
You can see it in their eyes, man. Like those dead eyes. Like, and that comment came across the bottom when I was thinking that, like about the dead eyes, And like, I used to love Jelly Roll. I've seen him a couple times live. I used to really like his music. But then you realize all this perversion. And I've listened to a podcast with him and Bunny talking and like all that stuff. And there's a lot of perversion with it. And the stuff in the lyrics of their music, it's all spell casting. All of it spell casting. And me as like a poet and as an artist myself, like I even think about this with the songs that I sing, even like doing covers. Because like you have to like think, like, 'cause I don't want to add to all this nonsense, you know what I mean? Because it is all spell casting, but definitely in the eyes. You can always see in the eyes, it seems.
Well, what's even scarier, Lance, is when you immerse yourself into that reality and you're fully into it, you end up writing lyrics that you aren't even aware of being spellcasting. Like, I have one song that if you play it backwards says some pretty evil fucking shit. And I knew, like, while I was just under a trance the entire fucking time. And so let's go to our comments here. They're heating up tonight. Thank you guys for keeping the comments on fire. It's awesome. Let's see. Well, we talk about Erica Kirk quite a bit, to be honest with you guys. And is the artist or the choreographers and the promoters craft and their image. And see, that's another thing that you bring up too, is a lot of times some of these artists are just useful idiots and want fame so bad that they're not aware of what the symbolism is that's in their music videos and what it's truly about. They're just there. They're useful fucking idiots. And we see what happens to them when they learn the truth and they decide to try to start speaking out. Like B.O.B. was skyrocketing towards being like the #1 rapper for like 3 months in a row. You couldn't go a half hour without hearing another B.O.B. song, and he was doing songs with the hottest people out at the time. And then he starts talking about flat earth and celebrity clones, and then boom, he's fucking gone from the public eye.
Yeah, well, you know, the choreographers at the photo shoots, the person in charge is always in on it, you know, telling them to cover their eye, do a shush, you know, all that gay shit that they do. And so some of the people are just doing what they're told, right? And so that is true. And they might not know what they're doing with all the symbolisms. But a lot of these guys know. A lot of them are non-human. They were brought here. Some of these celebrities were brought here to play these roles. I think the human ones are the ones that sell their soul, so to speak, because the non-humans don't even have one. So the humans sell their soul. They're the ones that can get helmed, like Sierra was talking about with Jelly Roll. Some of these people look different. Those are the humans that have gotten either helmed by some entity or fucked up somehow. They're all kinds of fucked up. So, you know, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And it could be a multitude of dozens of things. But the most important thing is to know that we don't need to know exactly what's going on. We just need to know that it's all fucked up and it's all bullshit. That's the important thing. But all these things that we've talked about are taking place with these guys in some fashion.
Yeah, everything I think is coming from one source. Go ahead, Lance.
No, I was just gonna say I just learned recently, and you probably know this, but like the term MC, like MC Hammer, you know what MC stands for?
Master of Ceremony.
Master of Ceremonies.
Oh.
I just learned that, and I'm like, wow, dude. You
Master
know,
of Ceremonies. Wow. I was gonna say mind control, which also seemed like it could have been a plausible answer, but that's crazy.
yeah. So you're out there, and you're the MC, like they're Master of Ceremonies. It's like, okay.
All right. So not that either one of these is less or more true than the other, but do you want a fantastical, out there, fun one, or do you want a learning one? Sierra, choose.
Oh gosh. Okay. Let's do fantastical and fun.
All right, let's go. This is right up there with Artemis.
They are the Alcatraz escapees. Do you know the real names of the Apollo 11 astronauts before they became astronauts?
Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but that's not their original names.
Oh, okay. What were their original names?
Michael Collins was known as Frank Morris. Armstrong was known as Clarence Anglin. And Buzz Aldrin was John Anglin.
Oh.
And why did they change their names, Rob?
They are the Alcatraz escapees.
So, Rob, they escaped from Alcatraz to become astronauts?
They were given a pardon if they would join in and comply.
But what about all the training for years they would have had to do?
To do what?
Yeah.
To go where?
Yeah.
Oh.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I've heard that.
Yeah, me too. I'm not throwing it off the table. It's plausible. I have not dove into that one. It has come across my table before, though. What do you guys think? The freaking Apollo mission, original Apollo astronauts were Alcatraz escapees?
Maybe. I mean, if anything, I doubt they escaped and they were more
pardoned.
Yeah, taken out to fulfill a role. But even that, I don't know.
At that point, like, why let them live and come back, right?
And it's like one of those things, it's one of those big secrets that they want to keep from us. So like we were talking about before, I don't think they would necessarily trust humans to carry on such a big secret for so long. So maybe it's a story, that they made up. I don't know, but I don't think they would trust 3 criminals with something so massive to fool the world. But I don't know.
If it is true, then Tom's theory that Masons cannot be arrested is out the fucking window because all 3 of them are Masons.
I'm not sure that that's a true story about them escaping, but the true part of the video that everyone needs to take in is that they're actors. And the true part is that those probably aren't their names, as Ether Pliskin, my friend Justin, says here. Neil A backwards is alien, right? So that's the true part. Maybe they did escape from whatever. That's not the important part. The important part is they are actors. Buzz Aldrin, right? Are these real names? Probably not. So that's it. These are actors, and that's where we need to get. We need to see these people as actors.
Elon Musk said he played golf on the fucking moon. Are you kidding me? How come I have not come across this clip? Are you guys sure that's not AI?
He's a non-human, so he could have been to the moon. It's we need to be specific. There's no humans that have been to the moon.
Right, but what is the moon? Did he astral project to the moon? Does he since he's not human, does he have memory since he's not memory suppressed of where he comes from? So maybe he's not lying there. But I mean, the fucking Tesla in space, and just the fact that he's like, it's real because it looks so fake.
When I say moon, though, it's not. He wasn't golfing there. I'm saying he's maybe been there. Whatever they got going on up there, he probably has been there. Anyways, I'm done.
Yeah, no, you're good. I was reading the comments.
People being on the moon is like Michael Aquino, and his torture device is up there where he was taking one of those. I think he was a Navy SEAL, and he was up there and he was like working with the reptilians and the Greys and stuff. And Michael Aquino, he said, was up there and he would like rip his arms off and then put him in a med bed, heal them all up and then do it to him all over again. And he said that all took place on the moon. So that's really all I've about people being on the moon, not actually people, but it being kind of like a base that they can transport to.
The public votes. That's a great fucking statement right there. And that was a great comment, by the way, Sierra. My bad. I didn't mean to just override you like that.
No, you're good. You're good. No,
yeah, the public definitely votes with their attention, right? That's like why that old saying holds water is guilty in the eyes of the public. And yeah, 100%. Let's see if I got something here that is up Lance's alley. Maybe
United States Corporation created a trust, bond, and estate the day that you were born, and we're supposed to have full faith and credit with our signature. There are probably millions, if not billions of dollars in every one of your estates and your trusts. See, we're under maritime admiralty law, and billionaires and elitists, they know all this. And when I was going down this rabbit hole to try to reclaim my trust in my estate, I realized it was the same secret societies and occultist groups that were gatekeeping this information are the same ones that are fueling this beast system today. I would love to be able to access the funds in my trust. And if somebody's out there that could help with that, by all means, let's do it, because I will use those funds to create the most amazing community you've ever seen. There's a lot of psyops out there. There's a lot of deception out there. And there's a lot of people spewing lies and doing things for their own personal gain. Another part of this is that they make you sign non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, and that's why we're in this mess. Secrets. Secrets don't make friends, and secrets don't benefit the greater good of the overall society. It is time for change. It is time to break away from all of this, and it is time to create a system that is different from the rest. We can reclaim our trusts, we can claim our bonds, but who's in charge of that still? Who has the overall say? The same handlers, the same gatekeepers, the same secret organizations and secret groups that keep all the secrets and gatekeep all the information. I don't think any of these systems are going to exist forever. I really don't. And I think that it's all going to be destroyed. And I don't mean that for anybody to be in fear or be scared, but that's the truth. This is not how the Creator intended things to be. If all these people are claiming their trusts and their bonds, how are they not creating communities already? Why aren't there communities popping up everywhere? If there's anybody out there that has gained access to their trusts, that has gained access to their state, and they're using it to buy farms, to grow food, to take care of the people, to prepare for what is coming, please show me, let me know, get me in contact with them. A lot of them have to sign non-disclosure agreements. A lot of them are in the occult. A lot of them are gatekeepers in secret societies. You might not realize that, but it's the same beast system that we are destined to destroy. I've gone down these rabbit holes and I've seen the symbolism. This all goes back to the post office, the de facto versus the de jure. I would love to be able to use these systems to benefit people and not doing it for our own individual purposes. Please, let me know. I love you when I think. Stay wild, fam. We're out here, and one way or another, we're making this community happen.
And that's why my TikTok account's under ban warning again. That video.
Because of that video? Because you're showing guns. You're showing guns. They don't like guns.
Yeah, I don't like guns, man. I don't like guns.
Bro, you're stacked. You're stacked. I feel like the oddball here, because I'm the only one that doesn't make these face-to-camera videos like you guys. But you guys are all fucking crushing. And so our guest last week wanted to get into this a little bit, and I really kind of avoid it because I am not that well-versed, but you and Tom seem to be. So I thought that was a great video of yours that we could bring to the table. And yeah, man, like there's a lot of questions. So if you guys want to get into this one that's on screen.
Yeah. Tom and I are going to be linking up at some point, just FYI.
Yeah.
So
Let's do it. Yeah, you guys need to fucking like do something to inform these people.
For sure. For sure. You want to go first, Lance? Or?
Yeah, no, I mean, there is legitimacy to all of this. And like, there's a lot of people in this community that know about this stuff. And the non-disclosure agreements are what really get me, because people will get visited by, these same people and then have to sign an NDA. And then they say, oh, I can't because I got access to mine or whatever, like it is what it is. But essentially, like when we're born, it's all maritime admiralty law anyway, because you're born through your mother's water and you're dry docked at a doctor's office. Now there's a difference between a birth certificate and a certificate of live birth, birth of a boat. Our body's a vessel. But like with your QSIP numbers, there's like a QSIP number associated with your social security number, and it's all fractional banking and all sorts of BS. But all these trusts and estates were created, and some people have access to it, and some people don't. But that's why it's all these same secret groups, these same freaking secret groups with everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fires me up, man.
For sure. So our birthday. So when we're born, that's our born day, right? You've heard people say Happy Born Day, and I think that's where that comes from, because the day that we were birthed is a different day on your birth certificate. Like my born day is June 9th. My birthday was when I was put into service, when the placenta, whatever, this whole ceremony that they do, they take the mother's placenta and they in essence, it is put out to sea, right? And it's dead cargo that's dead on the water, right? You guys have heard the phrase dead in the water. That's where that comes from too. So
being lost property.
Yeah. So if you look on your birth certificate, there'll be like a file date That's your birth date, actually. The day you were born is your born day. They're two different things. They create this all caps name, which isn't you, and it's on all your documents. You guys can all pull out your documents right now and look at this shit. It's right there. Your name's in all capital letters on your driver's license. Anything that has to do with the government or banking.
Jurisdiction.
Right. Yeah, because government and banking, they are one. They are one. There's no separation with any of this shit. They're all the same people. There's a one world government. And as far as getting a hold of your trust funds, so to speak, I don't know anybody that's done it. There's things you can do. I don't know if you can get 50 million or $100 million. It's possible, but your birth certificates are worth 20 to 30 million, depending on how old you are. They have a CUSIP number. This is all real shit. But long story short, you can take control of your estate. You can claim it and all that stuff utilizing a trust. And it's a whole thing I'm not going to get into. But it's very difficult. The community is shrouded in fucking deception. There's more deception in that community than I've ever seen. It is a disgusting, filthy community of FBI agents, and they've got everybody doing processes incorrectly on purpose that don't lead anywhere, that lead you getting frustrated and quitting. So it's very dirty. You know, I've been studying it for a couple of years. I had to unlearn everything that I learned because I realized I was being hoodwinked. I was like, holy shit, this is all bullshit, just like everything else is all bullshit. But the gist of it all is true. And if you guys at home want to learn about it, the best way to free yourselves is through a trust. You create your own trust. Everything's a contract. It's a private contract. And when you create a trust, you create the rules to your trust, and the government cannot interfere with a private contract. That is a fact. So you can create a whole role for yourself. You can put in your trust that this body cannot, you know, go to jail. You can put all kinds of shit in your trust because there's two worlds. There's this fake world with your all caps name, and if you get in trouble, you don't get in trouble. Your all caps name gets in trouble. So you need to learn the difference between you, the living man, and this all caps name. They are two different things. They've tricked everybody into being the same person. Person is a company. We are people, living people. People and persons are two different things. So it's a whole thing. I'm gonna stop right there because, you know, I could talk about this for 4 hours, but you know, the gist of it's all true. It's all there. And, you know, you guys need to learn about trust law and something called equity. Equity is the true law of the land. There's all the law is fake. The statutes and codes are all fake. There's God's law, which is there has to be a victim. If you've done something and there's no victim and you haven't hurt anybody, there's no law that's been broken, only a statute or a code. And those are all fake. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Unless you agree to participate in them. Because they will take you to jail if you're agreeing to participate. And that also takes place in the courtrooms too, right? So the way they address you from the moment they pull you over, and then when you're in the courtroom and they say things like, do you understand? Are you? And then they'll read off your name, and you're agreeing to the, and you're not agreeing to you as the person. You're agreeing to the entity that they have created.
Yeah, understand means to stand under what they're saying. Do you understand these charges? Oh yeah, I understand. That means I stand under them. What you say is no, I don't understand. I stand over them. That's a whole thing. The court thing is takes a lot of practice. I've you know, I won a case. Fuck it. I won a case. I presented myself and I won a fucking case.
Hell yeah.
Because I knew what I was doing. I'm not even gonna get into that right now. I've never even talked about that.
I didn't even know that. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I did it. It's probably one of the best things I've accomplished in my life. So, but I've lost a lot of court cases too. I got beat up in a bunch of court cases. I was trying a bunch of different things with banks and whatnot, and I got beat the fuck up because I didn't know what I was doing. But years gone by, and I look back, I see all the mistakes, and I'm ready to get back in the ring with these guys and fuck them up.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, don't give too much away, but
no, I can't. You're not really allowed to. You know, these are private. They'll shut our shit down. So I'm not even going to talk about it on here. Can't do it.
Right. Lance, though, you probably got like 1,034 questions, right? After making that video, because bro, it is so informative. But right when we were playing your videos, like people are like, tell me how, like stuff like that. It's like, I know even in Level Playing Poem here in the comments has been studying this stuff just like Tom for years now and still trying to figure this shit out. There's absolutely something to this. It is real. It is legit. But man, they cover it with a lot of fucking mud that you got to uncover.
For sure, dude. And it's also a moral conundrum for myself because I believe in God's law. And so all this shit, and I don't like swearing on here, but I don't agree with any of this stuff. This is not how, so me even giving my energy to it is like feeding energy into this system. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like things need to get tribal again, bro. And I mean that in the best possible way. Is I don't want to feed these same systems that we're destined to break. And I don't mean break it in a bad way, but, because they keep people enslaved and this is how they're doing it, and I don't know. A lot of people have questions. I have questions. I was hardcore into this for a while. And I have a lot, I've done a lot of research and I have a whole tote full of stuff. And it does get to a point where it's just frustrating, and then it feels like you start looking at the stuff and you learn about it, and then you realize how much, because we know that everything's a lie. But then when you start getting into this aspect of it, and especially every time you give your social security number, they create another bond. They create another, and so I'm a military veteran, right? So then there's other stuff associated with that because of your service. So it's they're capitalizing on all these people unbeknownst to them, and they're treating everybody as an individual corporation, dead entities. That's what it's figuring it out as because we are free living inhabitants here, but they try to control our physical vessel. Our body is a vessel. Well, this is how they control it, because they can't control our soul unless they have consent, right? But they try to control our vessel through this fake made up name. And just like what Tom was saying, the way that people even think it's all caps or upper and lower or lowercase, those are different jurisdictions. And law, land, air, and water. And so it's literal different jurisdiction. You're going to the Catholic Church and the government. So there's so much that goes into it, and it can be kind of an overload, and especially when you realize that it's more deception within deception within deception. That's what gets frustrating about it, because it's you know what? It's time to burn it to the ground, But for entertainment, educational purposes only, I mean.
Right. But that's the fun thing about it, right? Is we can doom scroll, we can get into these doom and gloom things, but amongst that there is just a boom of people creating content that's exposing a lot of good things. Like even that video that we're discussing right now that you had made, it's you're planting that seed of people to be able to escape this, right? And the doom and gloom things is necessary, I guess, to a point, and it's most of it is cringe and clickbaity and meant to steal your energy so that you're not focusing on solutions. And so through some of these awesome content creators, I reached out to this guy, and I'm going to have him on White Rabbit, and he would be awesome for this show as well. And so let's get into some of the amazing things that we're finding.
Hello, family. I am so excited to share with you this magic. There's a lot happening here. We can see the geometry, the spiral nature, the toroidal vortex, the living intelligence that this water is, being brought back to its perfection. With many different tensor rings, different ratios of pyramids. This large one is a Nubian pyramid. This is a phi ratio pyramid, a 75-degree angle, cut to the base of a sacred cubit. We have a double sacred cubit tensor ring. We have a lost cubit tensor ring. We have a STU balance and harmony ring, a new earth cubit ring, a cosmic connector, and a Viking cubit. We have a 528 harmonizer here, a new earth Giza pyramid on top, with a earth rodent coil. This is very, very potent. Even just putting your hand inside, you can feel it's like a plasma. It's like sticking your hand through a substance, and it doesn't take a clairvoyant or an energy worker to feel this not so subtle energy at this point. It's quite a concentration. But yeah, if you're curious about what's happening here, you would like to acquire some of this, I create all these tools, and it's 25% off in the shop right now.
So you can actually get copper, and it's real. It comes by the spindle, and then you can take just your normal cordless drill that you have in your garage, and you could take these copper and loop it, and then just attach it to the end of your drill and make these things yourself. And it's really cheap. Like at this point, we can still get our hands on this stuff. And man, there's so many videos that I'm coming across that's showing us free energy. I don't even know what this vortex thing is and what we could use it for, but I thought it was interesting enough to bring the video. Plus it has that double X song, and that usually gets me. I'm like, oh, this one's got to go.
Yeah, copper is amazing. We have Copper Prince coming on, I want to say next week, and he makes the copper structures that burst the chemtrails in the sky. And if you watch, it's these big copper rods that are all, you know, placed symmetrically in these designs, and they aim out towards the sky, and he places a video, and he'll do like a time lapse, and as soon as he puts this thing in the ground and it's up facing the sky, those chemtrails just start disappearing. So copper is amazing. You can stick like copper rods in your garden and watch your plants grow like crazy. We need to be using copper a lot more often.
And wearing it.
And drinking from it. Yeah. I think it makes that water living water again.
Yeah, I need to get a different canister. This is, I don't even know what kind of metal this is. And then the lid is plastic. And I'm sure we're all guilty of it. But I mean, you know, we can control what we can control. Damn, we're already closing in, and this happens every night. I have 7 videos we didn't even get to, and three of them are from last week. We did get to the aluminum, can't get through space. You know what? This video goes kind of hand in hand with what we did just watch. It's about 2 minutes long, and then I want to get into the God spell, which is a longer video, because I really wanted to get Lance's take on this.
The hardest concept for me to understand was, what is ether? We have this medium in space that is filled with this substance called ether, or akash in Sanskrit. It's this medium that connects absolutely everything in the universe. We are all swimming in it. We're all connected to it. It propagates vibration. It propagates waves. It's like the internet system for the entire cosmos. And sound is its language, meaning if you want to communicate with everything, everywhere, you do that through vibratory sound codes that can be transmitted through ether. The people who figured this out and figured out how to connect to that substance and how to talk in that substance, we call them enlightened, or we call them the yogis or the saints and siddhas, and we consider what they were able to do as supernatural. It's why science can't figure it out, because we don't study science in ether. They knew how to essentially go into that space, connect with everything everywhere, and then send a vibratory code, and that code would come back and be answered by life. And that's why it seemed like a miracle. It wasn't. It's just simply the science of Akash. And as a physician, if I was able to somehow teach people how to connect to that, even if it was just momentarily, maybe even for a few seconds a day, through their mantra meditation practice, how would their life change? What miracles, would they experience in terms of their physical health, their mental health? and probably most importantly, our relationships with each other.
I'm not 100% on board with everything she said, but Sierra.
I mean, yeah, it's very interesting. I don't fully understand ether. I did see that video and it definitely makes sense to me. A lot of the stuff that she's saying, I'm not sure that I fully have a grasp on it. But yeah, it's interesting.
It's all of this. That's all ether. Everything else filling in the space, right? So the top of a pentagram is ether, right? It's the top point with earth, fire, air, and water, the elements. So ether's the fifth element, they say. And what they do is they do the inverted pentagram, and that puts ether on the bottom, and that puts the material above it, right? So that's the inversion, right? So the regular pentagram has ether, spirit, whatever you want to call it, above all, and then they invert it and they put ether at the bottom underneath the material. So that's the inversion there.
Lance, anything you wanted to add to that video before we move on to this one that's going to disturb a lot of people?
Yeah, well, the ether goes hand in hand with that prior video talking about a toroidal field. It's all energy. It's all energy. And like, I come from that train of thought that we live in a toroidal field. You know, it's all the movement of energy. But etheric energy, that's a big thing about what we explore at Lance from Upstate, going around.
Heck yeah.
And, you know,
do you look into scalar energy at all? Have you like studied scalar energy? And also, like, everybody knew about ether and it was talked about, as far as I'm told. And then when the Rockefeller schooling system came in, they took ether out of all of the available texts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just thinking about it when Tom said that. He was talking about the fifth element. When I was a little boy, Captain Planet was like my favorite cartoon ever. And I remember it was Earth, Wind, Fire, Water, Heart. That's your ether, you know, your life force, your Taurus field right there, the Taurus, Orus, you know. The scale. Yeah, Captain Planet. But the scalar energy, I'm not entirely familiar with what you're referring to there, bro. But that etheric energy, you know, pulling it in from all these different points and stuff like that, that's something huge. And obelisks, as well as all this stuff sitting on ley lines as well, which is all higher energetic points. But
yeah, I'm not I'm not authority enough to talk about scalar energy. All I know is that there's been people that have made legitimate flying carpets using scalar energy. And it has a lot to do with that too. I think it might even have to do with electromagnetism and other things and how to harness all of these at once. But yeah, that guy that made that copper thing, he's going to break it down. He has a video about scalar energy. And I was like, bro, I seen one video about that 3 years ago and I've been talking about it since then. Can you come tell me? So anyways.
This comment right here though, by Ether Pliskin, right? That his namesake, this is a great comment right here, what he wrote.
Ether is the dynamic fluid that connects matter to the spirit and communicates frequency information with or through creator.
Love it.
What pulled you into that one, Tom? I love it too, but I mean, I don't know, anything that has to do with creator, I'm like, Tom's not going to agree with this one.
Why do you say that? I believe in a creator. I just don't. It's not none of these people that they're talking about with these names and all that. That's all. So I like what I liked here. Dynamic fluid connects matter to the spirit, communicates frequency. Yeah, just like these are words I like.
I love it too. I love it too. Lance, can we keep you for 2 more videos, or am I asking too much from you, brother? I know you just had a long ass drive.
Bro, I am here for it. I'm having a great time with y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. All right. Cool. You guys are in for it. Sierra, you good?
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's get into CERN and the esoteric stuff because, Lance, you were talking about this in your live about the Nephilim and the digits could possibly equal to 24, and you were speaking about maybe having four arms, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, oh yeah, Shiva, and that is represented right outside of CERN. And I think there's a lot more esoteric stuff going on there than people are really talking about. Like, people will give it credit to the Mandela effect and stuff like that, but I think there's a lot more going on there. And this lady, like, she touched on it, so I figured maybe we can riff off of it.
Do you guys honestly think that the facility in CERN is just colliding particles and trying to find the God particle, or do you think that there's something more nefarious going on? Because I started to research them after I read the book, The Hermetic Code in DNA, and I swear that everything that's written in that book, CERN is actually trying to rediscover. And I think that the goddess or god of Shiva, like the statue that they have in front, is actually a symbol of that. I know it sounds insane, but let me just start off with the Kabbalistic tree of, you know, Illuminati, and how deep Switzerland is actually into it. And I think that's why they chose Switzerland as their location. So if we look at the Kabbalistic tree of life and also the Illuminati and how everything is set up, you see Switzerland is just smack in the middle right there. And the black nobility, which basically is the ones who run the 13 families, then you will see their top 13 family last name called the Merovingians. Now, I made a 14-minute video on the pyramid scheme of the 13 families in Europe and the 13 families in North America that run them. And the Merovingians were the top of Europe, but they also have a family called the Medicis that run the Illuminati in Europe. And lo and behold, CERN actually has an experiment named after it. CERN's Medici's facility is producing novel radioscopes for medical research. Isn't that interesting? They also have another one called the Awake, which is the Advanced Wakefield Experiment at CERN. According to CERN, these are just acronyms. It just so happened that the Medicis happen to be the 13 families, and that they also have an experiment for that when it comes to like cancer, and that the Awake experiment was kind of, you know, produced somewhere around 2016 when the Great Awakening was happening, and a lot of people were talking about that, which is super weird, right? But then it gets a little creepier because we start to get into the esoteric and the ancient religions and knowledge. And at CERN, you see this 2-meter tall statue of the god of Shiva. Now, what's really interesting is that was actually gifted to them by the Indian government, because CERN and India have a scientific kind of like link when it comes to knowledge and all of that stuff. But this is where it starts to get interesting. That god is the god of destruction, of ego and that stuff. And it's also the rebirth god of, you know, after destruction, which is like, why is that at CERN? Like, they're colliding particles and they're trying to find the God particle, and that's where this book comes in. The Hermetic Code in DNA, The Sacred Principles in the Ordering of the Universe by Michael Hayes. Now, quick summary of the book is basically the book suggests that DNA is more than just biological blueprint. It may also carry symbolic or coded information that connects to universal principles described in Hermetic philosophy. The author explores parallels between modern science and esoteric ideas, proposing that life operates according to deeper patterns that link mind, matter, and consciousness. Where does CERN come into that? Well, basically, they're trying to find that link on a subatomic level, but they also are saying that most of this is just kind of rediscovering of what the ancients already knew.
I don't know, man. Like, the only thing I can think of with CERN is we've been seeing a lot of crazy shit since we've been told about it. And I find it highly interesting that there is 2 different, what are they called? Mandela effects surrounding Sally Fields. And her brother is one of the leading scientists at CERN.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And who's funding this shit, by the way? We are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember agreeing to this. Like, fuck voting for people that get in front of the camera and tell us whatever it is that they're gonna fucking tell us. Like, let's vote where our money goes, or let's like vote not to have money anymore. I don't want to go waste my days and my talent like living in this system.
2 wings of the same bird, bro.
Right.
Who are we voting for?
Switzerland. Yeah, Switzerland's dirty too. We've been told they're neutral, right? Oh, don't worry about them. They're just a bunch of. Don't look at Switzerland, right? Oh, they're neutral. They're not neutral. They're they're neutral the same way London's neutral and DC and the Vatican are neutral. They're dirty motherfuckers.
But have you seen their prisons, bro? They're like Hiltons. Like they're legit like resorts, and they rehabilitate these people and not actually punish the fuck out of them. Anyways, I just thought that was interesting.
Is it jail or are there actual resorts?
No, bro, they're like, I mean, they're holding facilities, but they're resorts. It's like our celebrities here in the United States pay shit tons of money to go to these rehab facilities, and the jail facilities in Switzerland are way nicer.
Yeah, that's interesting. And CERN is
Fake arrest. That's what pops into my mind. Fake arrest.
Well, why didn't Epstein go there? And that's another thing, is if they can put it into these trusts that you can't be arrested, and Epstein is well aware of these trusts and how all that shit works, like it doesn't make any sense. Like, of course the footage of him going to jail is fucking fucked with. Like, him going to jail is a facade in itself. He probably had a stand-in just walk from a car to the front doors of the jail. It wasn't even probably him. Like,
well, this was a legit story about that. So I used to have to attend autopsies all the time, and when there's a bone that's inside of your throat and that gets broken, because they said that he hung himself.
yeah.
And so this bone inside of your throat, the pathologist told me that I used to work with, and he was like 80 years old, older than that probably, and he'd done a million autopsies. But he read the autopsy of Epstein, and the small bone, and I want to say it's something like I don't even want to mispronounce the bone, but there's a small bone in your throat. If you hang yourself, it breaks every time, right? And it wasn't broken. So there was something like with that small bone, and like he had pulled it out of people and showed me this bone, and like how fragile it is. But so like the whole thing, he's like, no, he didn't kill himself, because I'll tell you right now, and he broke it down for me. But there's a small bone inside your throat, so that was another great clue from an experienced pathologist that told me firsthand.
Well, that's awesome, but I will push back and fuck you, Tom, because this is how my mind thinks now, is that autopsy that your friend read isn't even fucking real, dude.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
no.
The pictures that we saw from the autopsy, like the side profile is a completely different person. If it was even a real person to begin with, that probably was just AI generated, or they took a picture of a fucking dummy. And yeah, they just fucking forged some sort of death certificate and an autopsy report.
100%.
And they purposely sprinkle some shit in there to give conspiracy theorists like us something to talk about.
I completely agree, bro. Completely agree, Tom. Completely agree. Just like with Charlie Kirk, a 30-06 bullet got stopped by his vertebrae.
Right, because we know that's exactly what happens.
Yep.
I mean, we're talking like one of the most powerful rifles that we can get a hold of. And I remember when my dad took me shooting for the first time, and he put a 30-06 in my arms and stood behind me, and it knocked me on my ass, and he laughed, and he's like, we all got to do it the first time once. And then, there's also been people that do like these ballistics that you can watch on YouTube before this whole Charlie Kirk thing even went down, and see like how many cooking pans is a good one. Like, they'll line up cooking pans, and they'll start with a 22, and they'll work their way all the way up to like a freaking something that sits on top of a tank, right? And like the 30-06 would go through like 20 of those fucking cooking pans. And you're telling me like these bones in our neck, like that cooking pan, one of them, I think, is going to be a little bit more durable than our neck bone, like any of our bones.
Preposterous.
Something for us to talk about. They just took up 2 minutes of a rant from me.
Yeah, Maid Diomri. I don't know if I'm saying it right. You've
Oh
asked
my
some really
gosh,
good
I'm out of the
questions here.
comments.
That I see you asking these questions. I just want to say real quick: is it true all religions were written by AI? Yeah, I say all the religions were created by non-humans. And then you asked me before. I'm telling you everything about the trust and all that. I don't know directly how to do it. I'm not being evasive. I know the gist of how you do it. It's very complex, it's very tedious, and it's not something like you have to learn it. You have to know why it is and who you are and all this stuff. So I'm not indirectly not telling you how to do it. It's that I don't know.
Well, here's a
I'm
great
missing some details. So
here's a great response to that.
there it is.
So yeah, it's like something that people have been studying for years and years and still are studying and trying to figure it out. So, and it seems like once somebody does figure it out, then they're not allowed to tell anybody. But people are figuring it out. So was there a lot more in here? I'm sorry, you guys. Like I saw the comments kind of went crazy and I missed them.
She had a question for me, but it's probably a better question for Lance. She asked about the resets and who does them and about all that. And just real quick, I'll just say that to me they're scheduled. These are scheduled events. There's the whole realm runs on an AI, so it's all automatic. It's not old men sitting around the table like, hey, let's go bomb this. It's not like that. It's all scripted out. But these resets seem to be like every 138 years, 140 years, somewhere around then. I think we're due for another one here around 2040. But I don't know a lot about them. I mean, you can tell there's prior civilizations, Lance, all these buildings you go look at, right? These are buildings that were clearly not constructed in 1928. They've been here for hundreds of years. The cathedrals are not churches. They were cathodes. So I'll let you take it away about these resets and all that if you want to add to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the big thing is that there's been multiple resets, like Thomas said, and there's evidence everywhere about that. And that's the whole thing is like I don't know or a definitive time when these resets happen. I know like for sure there was one around the Civil War, and that ran concurrently with the ending of the Little Ice Age. And there's all these different military conflicts going on all over the realm here. But if you look at all these cities, they're all built on vast tunnel systems, and all of them used to have canal systems as well that now the roads go over the top of. And these same secret groups that we keep talking about, they just plow over cities and rebuild upon them, and then they hide the history. And so like they'll change the name of a municipality or a township or a name of a fort or a military base. Like they change those names, like even like around here in Washington County, Rogers Island, Fort Edward, New York. That's where the United States Army Rangers started, actually. Like the United States Army Rangers started here in New York. And there was a star fort there, which the star forts were connected to the water systems. Well, they've renamed Fort Edward 5 times until, now it's Fort Edward. Well, if you go to do research on that, you're not going to know that it was renamed, so you'd find some other town, you know what I mean? And that's how they kind of hide the narrative. And then going back to it, like a big thing is, and I talk about giants, quite a bit because there were giants here, and the giants built a lot of things. Like I'm going to Ohio to check out the Serpent Mound. That's a big part of this, is that there were numerous advanced civilizations here that existed. They want us to think in 2026 we're the most advanced we've ever been. That's not the case whatsoever. There have been people, society has been much more advanced. And even in recent years, even going back to like airships and talking about the etheric energy and things of that nature, mud floods happen. There's evidence of these mud floods, these flood-like events, and where we've had to, have to resettle out like different parts of the country. And then you start getting into orphan trains and Cabbage Patch Kids and all sorts of stuff. But all these structures that we go and we investigate these structures, all of them always have a messed up cornerstone. All of them go way deeper, and so many of them have the same group of architects that are all educated by like West Point or the same people, and it's the first feat, gigantic feat that they ever did. And every one of them, it seems like they're involved in one of these secret clubs. And so it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. And regardless, like, because people they'll tell me I'm stupid and talking about these structures, and like I don't use the word Tartaria. I don't use that because, like I said, I think that there's multiple advanced civilizations that existed, and like there was all these different kingdoms everywhere, and it's almost like Star Wars, like with the evil empire taking over all these small kingdoms and forcing everybody to fight for the empire unbeknownst to them. It's kind of the same exact thing, really. If you had all these different kingdoms around here and then they all get conquered and programmed and brainwashed, and they wash our brains and make them fight for the same empire, it's the same kind of thing. So we had, I don't even know where I was going with that tangent. I get going a million miles an hour. I'm sorry. But
love it.
but I tell people all the time, like because people argue with me about it, like you're stupid. There's pictures of them of making them. Well, first of all, artificial intelligence is ancient intelligence. It's been here a lot longer than what most people realize. And B, regardless of when these structures were built, the symbolism all means something, right? All the symbol, like people think it's just a decoration. Okay, no, they have griffins and Solomonic lamps and phoenixes and all this wild and gargoyles and all this kind of crazy stuff. It's not just for decoration. It's because it all means something to them, right? But a lot of these places, the logistics don't make sense. If you have your chat GPT break down some of these structures and what it would take to build in modern times with infinite resources, it's going to take them 10 times longer to build it today with a much larger population than it would have back when they're saying that they were built and there was nobody around whatsoever. And so this is how they're just literally rewriting the history in front of our faces. And this is so we are disconnected from who we are. And this all goes back to essentially everything in this conversation. They're trying to disconnect us from our power, and they do that by hiding the truth. But they also hide it right in plain sight, right in our faces. Like it's literally right in our faces, and they put it in the movies. We know they put it all over the place, in the music, in the movies, in the media. And then like when we're like, hey, guess what? They're lying to us, and there's actually giants that ran around here, and you know what? Unicorns are real, and gargoyles and dragons, all that stuff's real. And then like, you sound like a crazy person, like because that's what Rockefeller wanted you to sound like. And so there's so much, but there's a lot of great people that are doing some great things, doing some on the ground, like boots on the ground stuff. There's a lot of ancient articles and all that. But I will add that a lot of these investigations, I'm using the same scope of practice that they would have done in like my former career. Like I was a real life detective, believe it or not. I was a detective and a sergeant. I was in law enforcement for 11 years. I was an expert witness for the state of New York, drug recognition expert. I was a police photographer and all sorts of stuff. I started when I got sober and saw through the illusion, like I couldn't morally do the job anymore. So I spent almost 2 decades, between the military and police, and I got out. I couldn't do it anymore. And like a lot of people in the military and the police side of things, they thought I was crazy, and they told everybody I was crazy for what I was talking about. I'm like, dude, giants are real, and I started talking about all this stuff. But if I'm using the same scope of practice, all kidding aside, I'm using the same scope of practice to prove, that there's reasonable suspicion that they're lying to us. And it warrants an investigation. It warrants people to take a look at what's going on around us because the evidence is everywhere. And I can sit down with somebody and articulate like, hey, let's go through this right here. All right, this is all the things like, none of this is adding up. The math ain't mathin', homie. So please, can you explain this to me? Because none of this makes sense to me, And that's the, Big T says that, make it make sense. Well, the only thing that makes sense is none of it makes sense. And I don't know, I guess in a roundabout way, I know I kind of, that's my TISM information overload just. But there's been multiple advanced civilizations that existed, and none of it makes any sense whatsoever. And the logistics don't make any sense. You see these giant megalithic structures, and you see a horse and buggy in front of it, but dirt roads. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and there's literally, it's been documented by so many different people, and there's a lot of different tribes that talk about these structures being here or different peoples being here beforehand. But Western society and the Rockefeller indoctrination system, they created a completely different narrative. It's their history because they don't want us to know our true power.
Yeah, there's some great things happening here in the comments. Go ahead, Tom, and then we'll get to the comments.
No, I just said fuck yeah. That's all.
Fuck yeah is right.
None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense.
You've been quiet as well.
No,
you-
I agree. Like this has been, yeah, I agree. Fully agree. Our whole history is obviously bullshit and it's rewritten multiple times. Yeah, I fully agree. Well said, Lance.
Yes, very well. And then in the chats, I need to address some of these. So basically, one of these says they're not building DUMBs for fake nukes and everything happens in cycles. There's nothing new under the sun. Yes, there is nothing new under the sun. It doesn't have to be nukes that they kill us with. They can poison us. They can do anything for a period of time to where they need to be into their bunkers. And to us, it could look like a nuclear event, but it could be anything that is destroying us, like what they tell us nuclear weapons are is not physically possible. It's not scientifically possible. It's just not fucking possible. However, that does not mean that they don't have energy weapons. They don't have weapons of some sort of mass destruction, and that they could take us out in any way they fucking want to at any time, really. Like the theatrics, they're getting something out of it. There's an energy harvest there that they need. They need us. I don't know why, and I don't know like about these certain laws, or if I even believe that they have to follow any sort of law. Maybe they're just a cat playing with their food. But I don't know where I was going with that, you guys. But it doesn't have to be nukes. Like, but another thing is if they could leave Earth, why would they build nukes? Or why would they build bunkers?
There's a lot going on under the ground. That's why they lie about space. They want us, oh yeah, what's going on up there? Like, don't look down there. Oh, what's so it's a head fake. Space is a head fake. There's a lot going on underneath us.
And you think they're diverting us towards the ocean too, or do you think that's something legit that they just can't keep us from talking about because it's right there for all of us to see?
Well, distraction after distraction, distract ion, but absolutely, I completely agree. And going back to what we were talking about before with UAPs and UFOs, it's all in the ocean. All this stuff comes out of the ocean. And we know that they have, DUMBs, the deep underground military, well, what do they got going on in the ocean where they're flying in and out there all the time,
And the internet's down there. Isn't that where the internet, all the cables
right,
for the internet are?
Yeah.
Which shows you that, and how could it be round? How can you have that round globe with this infrastructure? It's just impossible.
So, Tom, have you ever heard me talk about the man that owned the mansion that I used to live in and how he acquired so much money?
No.
He directed a project in the 70s that invented Wi-Fi that they used in submarines. That's just one of the things. He can't talk about a lot of shit that he was involved in, but he likes to brag about that one.
So the internet, he was aware of it in the 70s, you're saying?
Not just the internet, bro. Wi-Fi.
I believe that.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. I know I kept teasing. This is the last one, I promise, even though there's more I want to play. But this is the last one. It's a long one, 3 minutes and 22 seconds. And it is titled The God Spell.
What if I was to tell you that calling God, God, actually angers the Most High? What does the Bible say? You forgot my set-apart mountain and name, and you prepared a table for G-O-D. Isn't that funny? In G-O-D, America trusts. So this is why names, which also means authority, are so important. Because most people, they are under the gospel, which is more of a Germanic term, and it goes back to the God spell. And we know that God actually goes back to Godin, which is going to be the Lombardic way of saying it. Woden, the Old English way of saying it. Woden and Woden, Old German, and then Odin, modern English. So all of this goes back to G-O-D. That is who they worship. They worship Godin. Okay, now whether you know it or not, you are in the black magic ritual because they love to spell, right? But in Hebrew, we do not spell. Okay, we have characters, just for instance. So once you start to wake up to the fact that you and all the churches in the 501c3 system is under this God, Godin spell, just like Epstein and the synagogue of the Satan and all of your celebrities, I just want to thank God. I just want to thank Odin, and I just want to thank him for everything he's done, for all the fortune he's brought in my life. And now we know that God and Gad really equals fortune. Okay, they worship their own fortune. And that's why understanding these terms, it's so important. I already had it written there. Once you start to understand, this is why they removed the original name, Yod-Heh, Vav-Heh. This is when you're going to start to wake up and do everything you can to get out of the God spell. Okay? This is a black magic ritual. And once you wake up to the half-truth, which is a whole lie, and you start to follow the real truth, which was written in the Torah equals the Bibles. The Torah, A-H. The Torah equals the Bible, not just 5 books. That is a lie from the synagogue of the Satan to get you to be lawless. Because if you're lawless, guess what? You're probably going to follow the God of fortune. And welcome to the God spell, the Go spell, the good spell. Goes back to a Germanic thought process. But we don't follow a Germanic or a Greek Elohim. We don't follow a false God. We follow the real Most High, right? His name is YHWH, or some of you can call him Yah. And this is why in Jemeh they also call him Jah, even though that's not really correct because the J wasn't invented until after the 1500s. Okay, so learning these things, and I don't care how you say it, whether you say it Yahuwah or Yahava. Now the latter is going to be more accurate, and the U sound goes back to the Greek, and it goes back to the more Germanic sounds, right? So Yahava is it's going to open up so many doors. Okay, it's going to change your life. Remember, most of the people who are teaching this, they're teaching you from a modern Hebraic perspective. We don't follow the modern Hebrew, we follow the original. If you want to call it the paleo, then okay, but that's what we follow. Even though they think that they're following the old ways, they're not. So anyway, just throw that out there. But the point is that name equals authority. Okay, so stop giving your authority to the black magic ritual. Start giving your authority to the Most High Yah. Now when you breathe in and you breathe out, it goes just as a quick synopsis, right? It doesn't go no, that's too far from the truth. When you breathe in and you breathe out, it makes okay? Alright, it's all fact at the end of the day. This is the truth. This is the highest form of truth. Which is why we're teaching it to you, which is why they tried to get rid of the whole truth with a half lie. So learn the way, figure out your tribe, because that's part of the prophecy too. At jacobslink.com, the herbs will heal nations, and end the curse and the cognitive dissonance. Learn the way. Everything you need is in the link.
All right, man. Now, Tom suggested to me a week or two ago, maybe turn the music down in your videos. And unfortunately, we experienced that with like 3 of them tonight. Like, guys, turn your fucking music down a little bit. Like, I understand why you have it. I use it as well. But learn the appropriate volume. Fuck.
Well, in that video, I agree with the God spell. Like the in God we trust. It's not the God you think. It's the false God. It's the adversary, whether you want to call him Satan or whatnot. So that's accurate. Yahweh isn't it. Yahweh's a false God. I'm just gonna say it like that. And some of you might not agree with me. Yahweh, Yahuwah. If it has a name, it ain't it. God's ineffable. He doesn't have a name. So, and I see this, and I figured this out recently. A lot of these people in the community, the sovereign community, they do this thing with their trust, and they make their trust, and all this stuff, to Yahweh, and they put Yahweh in their trust, and it's just not right. That's another trick. So they're all fucked up with that. So that's really all I got with this video.
Lance?
I don't know, man.
This is the one I really wanted to hear your feedback on, because like I myself I'm the lonely Christian of the show. And so I always get excited when I have another. Well, you're the first Christian to come on the show.
Well, no, I believe in Christ. I believe that the connection is all within, like the Christ, the Spirit, and again with all this, like there's even like with my own journey here, like because I've spoken with Jacob on the phone a couple times, and he was connected to this other dude that I was filming with, and like this whole thing's been a journey for me too, man. And like I'm trying to make sense of all of this, and there's so much stuff, and it can be like it can almost put you in a psychosis thinking about all of it. But the only thing that I can say is that the connection with everything, regardless of the name, is like it's all internal, it's all here, and we're all responsible for our individual connection. And what people think that is, I don't know, and I can't attest to what other people think. I know that what I feel is all within here, and just trying to walk in righteousness and be a good person. I think that's the most important thing. But all that connection comes from within. The name and all that stuff. I see people arguing about the names all the time, and Lord and God, and like there's so much stuff going on. Again, to hit what Tom said, there's not a name for it. It even says that, like, there's no name, there's no real, like, nobody knows the name because it's not a name. It's not a name that's given. It's a power. It's a force. You know what I'm saying? And but yeah, no, I mean, we talked about this before. I think on one of the shows, like, Christ being a mystic, but even Christ said, "Don't worship me." Like the kingdom of God is within. It's the same kind of stuff. It's the same kind of thing that he was saying, that it's all it. I don't know. It's a lot, man. It's a lot, and this spiritual journey has been a lot too. But that's the biggest thing I can say is that your connection. Everybody has to find their connection. They don't need a church. They don't need organized religion. Lying. Like that whole thing. Your connection is within, and that's that individual connection. And I don't know. I don't want to preach anything or put anybody on the wrong path. And I know enough to keep my mouth shut when I don't know enough about something. So I don't want to tell anybody what to think or what to believe. That's on, individual people. I can only say that I have that connection. There's nothing that's going to shake my faith from that. And just be a good person. I don't know.
Lance, I have no business talking about some things. And what my fucking grandioso idea was? Let's start a podcast.
You're doing an excellent job, bro.
Can I add something real quick? I agree with you. I am a Christian in the sense that the Christ is within us. Christ. It's just that there's a very big distinction between Jesus and Christ. Jesus and Christ are not the same thing. They've been conflated. Jesus is, in my opinion, is a fairy tale. Christ is within. Okay, so Jesus is an external savior that is worshipped. Okay, and that is a false god. Christ within is an internal thing, just like Lance said. They are two different things. So I just wanted to clarify that, and I agree with everything that Lance said about that. The Christ within, Christian, but that's not what the religion's about. The religion's about the external Jesus savior, and that is bullshit. So that's all. I agree.
I mean, I do too, but apparently when I say that, I'm not a Christian, I'm Gnostic. So I guess we're all kind of on the same page. But I also, damn it, I'm sorry, Lance, I gotta mute you again. Why is there buttons blocking me from doing that? Oh well. Yeah, man, I don't know. All I know is I'm learning as I go, and I'm open to being wrong about things that I thought were to be solid factual fact yesterday. And so man, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like as long as my heart is in the right place and I'm trying to learn the truth, like I can't be punished for not being dead on. And I feel like we're all over the target.
Yeah, I think that if we didn't have that innate connection to source, they wouldn't have to work tirelessly to stop us from remembering and connecting to it. They have to poison us, poison the air, poison the food, poison the water, indoctrinate us, program us because of that interconnection, that Christ within. And so everything they teach us is to search for an external savior, an external source, rather than going in and finding it. Because once you actually do go in and find it, you connect to that source, and their agendas and their attacks don't have the same effect on you anymore. But if you're in that victim mentality that you're waiting on a savior to come and take care of you, then you are susceptible to whatever they're doing. So I think that they try and take you away from that, get, like Lance said earlier, completely disconnect you from source from so many different angles. Because once you go in and you connect to that Christ within, that will alone is so much more powerful than anything that they have. So, they can try and do all of these things, but if we step into our sovereignty, into our authority, knowing that the Christ is within, then their power loses its grip.
Word.
Yeah, I was just responding to this. Do you guys believe we are 8 billion and billions? And I'm not sure what they meant by that. So do you guys
Population
know?
of the world.
Population of the world? Shit, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, Lance, you could probably speak on this more than anybody else in here. Like, I know that when I go from one side of the country to the other, there's a lot of fucking open area where there's nobody at all. I think that the only people are really just condensed in these big areas. And I think that that's also by design, right? Oh shit, I got you muted. I'm like, you get a lot of feedback. I like hear everybody echoing through you. So I was trying to remember to mute you when you're not talking, but my bad.
We I'll figure that out. Yeah, to go just hit back on the what we were talking about previously, what you said. I think when you seek God, that's the biggest thing. You're seeking God. You're seeking that path, and that's what you're going to find. You know what I'm saying? Like energy flows where attention goes. That whole thing. But again, no, I don't know if there's 8 billion people. I really don't. Like it's something that's I joke, joke about with, like, if you know anybody else in the military, like you could say like, yeah, I was in the army, and like, oh really? Well, my cousin was in the army. Do you know him? I'm like, oh yeah, because there's only 1.5 million people in the army. Like, no, I don't know who your cousin is. But then like you can go to different places all over the country, all over the world, or all over the realm, and you can meet somebody. So really it's meet somebody that or run into somebody that you know what I mean? Like, it always seems smaller than what it actually is in that sense. And there are vast, wide open places everywhere, even like with these highways, like you're driving on highways forever and there's nothing else around. I don't know if there's 8 billion people. I don't
think so. I mean,
No.
just by the fact that they tell us there's 8 billion, that can't be,
right?
That can't be it. So yeah, I think it's way less. And then out of those 8 billion people, how many of them have a soul? That's a whole other conversation.
NPCs, bro, that's a legit thing, and you can feel it. And like, not for nothing, like and I'm sure you guys have experienced it as well. But you're walking around in public, and they can tell, because like you'll get like that weird look or that weird feeling. They'll look right away. Like you can tell, like that doesn't seem like a real person. As crazy as that, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, especially when you're vibing high. Because your vibration, like, and I know that we all have our individual vibration, and they can tell our aura, you're feeling our energy walking through our aura's field, going back to that, they can see, just like with these reptilians and whatever else going on. 100%.
Man, Sierra, you have to add to that. That was right. That was keyed up for you.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, anytime I travel somewhere, whether it's a different state or town or country or whatever, you kind of find the same person in every town. And it's like those NPCs or whatever. And they're just kind of, it's that same character that doesn't really ask questions or anything. They just, but it's the same in every single town. You can kind of find the same templates of those people anytime you go somewhere new. And it's like, those are the areas, or those are the people that have just been created to fill in those areas, be connected to the matrix. But as far as like the reptilians, yeah, they can totally tell. And they're everywhere. Like, they are everywhere. And I feel like I've been noticing them so much more lately, and they can tell when you notice them. Like, I've noticed, I think I told you guys, but I was in New York City, and I passed some NYPD, and I just was joking. I had a couple glasses of wine in me, so my inhibition was gone. I was just like, I wonder if they'll tell me how many reptilians are there. But even before then, they were staring at me, even before I even said that, which is kind of what made me say it in the first place. So they can definitely tell. They know if you're aware of them. And yeah, the higher you vibe, the more aware you are, the more you kind of signal to yourself. You kind of have a ping in the ether, and they're aware of you. So I always tell people, like, don't fear them. Definitely don't fear them. There is nothing to fear as eternal fractals of the Most High. But if you can sense them, just your own awareness and your connection to source is something that will kind of deter them from you, because what they really want is for you to fear them. But you can make them feel kind of small. And in that sense, they'll just back off.
Man, I think that what's even more creepier than noticing them is them noticing you noticing them.
Yeah, they're like very aware of that.
So next week we'll kick it off with a dope ass video of this like little boy who's speaking things that he should know nothing about. Like he could have a seat at this table on this podcast with us and we would all be like, "Oh wow, you should start your own show. Why aren't you making content?" Because I don't know, I called it like this kid's lived here before. And so we can jump in directly with that one. Lance, we like to go around the table and talk about anything that we have upcoming. Maybe any just plug away, you know, and then fuck man, I really wanted to hear about your trip. I guess we'll have to have you back on. And let me unmute you like an asshole that I am.
Yeah, bro. Well, again, thanks for having me on here. I really have a great time having a conversation with y'all. So anytime you guys want to invite me, I will definitely hop on another convo. So thank you again. This has been great. I appreciate all three of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to check out your YouTube channel. I don't have the links for everybody here, but if you guys check out the audio version of this, it will have the links. And if you come back, I promise I will get those links up posted on here. Lance is on fire, man. He is like a true creator. He is digging deep into all of these things and he's allowing us to learn along his journey along with him. And it's freaking awesome. If you guys are not already giving Lance a follow, it is a fire follow. And I don't care if you're a black belt in this conspiracy world, you are going to learn some stuff. So, Lance, it's always an honor to be able to talk to you. And it's even a greater honor when you are able to bless us on this show. So thank you, brother.
No, much love, man. It's been a wild ride. And that's the thing. Like you said, I'm bringing y'all on my journey because I'm learning along with y'all, and I'm just showing my genuine reaction as we learn and go about these things. And there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense, but we can all look at it and realize it doesn't make sense and come together and try to make it make sense, you know, like Big T says there. But yeah, if people want to follow me, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I do live streams, and so I'll go around to these different cities, these different towns, these different places. I'll do live streams, and then I've been uploading those live streams onto my YouTube. So I have some cool live streams on there from like Boston and then the capital in Albany. I got some cool ones that I'll be uploading from this past trip, but there's a bunch of them on there with other content creators as well. And once again, man, I appreciate all three of you, and thank you for having me on the show. I will be, I'm headed out to Ohio next, I think, going to check out the Serpent Mounds, and then I'll be heading to Kentucky, King Tut's Key, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of stuff hidden everywhere. One day I'm going to make it to the Grand Canyon, and I always joke that I'm hopping the fence. So, but there's a lot of wild stuff that they lied to us about, and especially the giants. The biggest thing is the giants, and that's easy to uncover because there's evidence that everywhere and all over the realm they talk about giants.
Damn it, I wanted to get into this with you because I just watched a fucking video last night, and I was locked up with a Paiute Indian.
Hey, Paiute, bro.
And his name was Big Pond, Donald Big Pond. I'll never forget this guy. He was the craziest motherfucker I ever met in my life. But he was the first person that told me about these giants in the caves that they fucking like cornered in these caves and burned them alive and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across this video, and it's so funny to me because I was like, this is awesome. They're talking about this. And then at the end of the video, and they were like, they claimed they were giants, but the skeletal remains, like none were larger than 6 feet. I was like, wait, what?
That's
like,
not true.
You guys, like, fuck you guys. Like, they were like the red giants, right? Like, it was like you're not going to call somebody a giant. Like, I mean, there's football players that to me I dwarf underneath, and like I would consider them giants. They're like 7 feet fucking tall and shit. Like they're in the offensive line, and if you see these people in the grocery store, you're gonna be like, that's not a normal human being.
Well, it's the same bloodlines, dude. The NBA, it's the same. It is bloodlines, and that's the whole thing. Is like, and that stuff is still alive. You know, there used to be little people, like you can talk about puckwudgies. There are little people in the mountains, but there's little people.
Those are the
Yeah,
actors. The Hollywood actors are the little people. Go ahead.
but, but they little people, giants, and you know, there's so much stuff, dude. But yeah, no, definitely the Paiutes. They burned them all up in a cave, and then years later, people went in there to excavate guano, and they uncovered all these giant bones. And the Smithsonian comes in and steals all the bones every single time. And then when they call them up, be like, "Yo, you got them giant bones?" Smithsonian's like, "We have no idea what you're talking about." Every time. It's only happened a million times, but
Giants. The biggest one we got was only 6 feet.
yeah, the biggest one we got is only 6 feet tall. But yeah, no, the red-headed giants that were out there, and those were 6 fingers, 6 toes, that whole thing, you know. And like they even say, like with natives, like the how thing. It's like how many fingers you got on that hand, you know, like
how many motherfucking fingers you got, bitch?
Yeah, dude, 100%.
Where'd they show us in Game of Thrones? They showed us an ice wall. They showed us giants.
Yep.
I think some of those guys had red hair, didn't they?
Well, dude, you know what's crazy, Tom? When I went to Boston, I took a tour with a couple people of the Grand Mason Lodge in Boston, and they took me into and they do the tours and all that. The guy took us into like where they have the stage and all this stuff, and he told us that they get together and they watch Game of Thrones, bro. And I'm like, and the dude, like, he was like all proud, and like he kept going on and on. It was Batman Rob. He's on Instagram. He does videos around Massachusetts. He's really cool. And then this other girl, Allison, she does really cool videos. She's on TikTok as well. And all 3 of us met up. I met up with those guys, and we went and did a live stream in Boston. Went to the library, which was wild. That live stream is on my YouTube channel, and I still have the footage because I GoPro'd the entire tour. And I haven't done anything with that footage yet. I have literally like hundreds of hours of footage that I got to start doing something with and put it on YouTube. But that whole thing, dude, literally the guy tells us that they sit around and they watch Game of Thrones.
There you go.
Yeah. And the second most powerful lodge in the country. And that's what he kept making a point about it.
Bro, it's going to take you so long to go through all that footage. Like, I suggest you start a Patreon and just upload it all raw and let your followers go through and find all the interesting shit and send it to you.
I mean, I could do that. That'd be wild, dude. I mean, I literally have, like, I got a whole bag. Got a whole bag of memory cards right here, all full. I just go around because I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the software, and I do like edits, and I'm posting across multiple platforms, but I'm doing it all on my phone, and I'm trying to figure out CapCut Pro on this MacBook. My brother talked me into getting a MacBook, and that's like learning how to use a whole computer all over again. On top of like I'm not a technology guy whatsoever, so like trying to figure out multi-streaming and doing all this stuff, and like people have talked to me about making a podcast. Dude, I'm a mountain man, like legitimately. I don't even wear shoes, bro. So trying to figure out all this stuff, like I'm kind of shooting from the hip here.
I love it. That's fucking awesome. Sierra, I feel like we haven't heard from you tonight. Like you're just sitting over there. I called you the most beautiful conspiracy co-host, and it blushed and you didn't talk all night. Or maybe I'm just a mic hog.
I mean, I've just been listening. I've been really enjoying listening to the conversation tonight. And some of it's been stuff that I'm not entirely versed in. So this was kind of a learning opportunity for me as well. You know, you guys talking about the trust and Lance, all of your stuff that you've been posting lately, it's really been like educating me on a lot of things. So I just kind of wanted to sit back and listen to what you guys had to say tonight and learn and try and catch up a little bit. But yeah, I was so excited for this episode just because really, really love what you're doing, Lance. I think you're such a authentic, genuine, cool dude. Just looking for the truth. So I was so excited to have this episode and it did not disappoint. It was so much fun.
You're awesome. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. I appreciate all 3 of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was great. I just wanted to mention really quick that we have a couple guests coming up before I pass it over to Tom. Next week we have Coincidence Yowie who will be joining us, and then following that, the next week we will have Copper Prince, who is the guy I was talking about with the copper structures for the chemtrails. So just wanted to mention those before I pass it over to the wonderful Tom Zanes.
Wait, and then after that, we have the P52.
Yes, she hasn't scheduled an actual time slot with me yet. We've been chatting about it, but I'm sure she gets a lot of messages. She's been taking a little while to respond, but she wants to be on an episode. So yeah, we'll be having her as well, which will be cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have a reptilian on the show finally.
Well, she's a future human, not a reptilian.
Right.
So she says.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Sierra didn't say a lot, but what she did say was very profound. So, yeah. And yeah, Lance, dude, great having you on, man. Fucking good stuff. You're a good dude, and keep up the good work with these live streams. I got to check them out. I mean, I didn't even know you were streaming until I saw these clips from Jacksonville, man. So, I want to get together with you too on one of these missions at some point. Where's this thing in Ohio, real quick? This Serpent Mound. Where's that?
Unmute.
I think it's in the township is Peebles. I do think that's what the township is called. But there's a giant serpent mound. If you looked up the giant serpent mound in Ohio, it'll pop right up.
I am going to look it up right now because I'm very interested.
Because I'm from Pittsburgh and I have family in Cleveland. I'm just wondering if it's nearby.
Oh, really?
Yep,
yeah. Pittsburgh. I want to get to Pennsylvania too. I got a lot of requests to do. People send me some awesome places to explore all over the place. Cleveland as well. So maybe I'll hit that up on this trip.
In Pittsburgh, there was all the forts and stuff from George Washington and all that, whatever the fuck that was. But right? It's the same thing. There's a lot of those buildings like you saw in Jacksonville, and yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's like that everywhere with all these cities, but yeah, good stuff, man. Thanks for coming on. It was fun. Good chat.
Yes.
Catalyst, thanks for moving everything, keeping that flow flowing.
This is always fun. And as always, we didn't get to everything, but I look forward to seeing you guys on some podcasts. I told you guys Speaking Code reached out, so you guys are going to be on there. I've had a couple other people reach out that are interested in having the three of us on, so we need to schedule that. And it's summertime now, so I really wanted to do this camping trip with a buddy of mine who is of the Washoe tribe, and he has access to some places in Pyramid Lake that us Goy are not allowed to go into. And so I was going to do like a 2-3 day camping trip with him at Pyramid Lake and see like that big statue of the lady and like get access to some stuff. And so if you guys have balls and want to meet me out there, that would be freaking awesome. I'm planning that. That's coming ahead. I don't have any huge shows coming up other than Sam Tripoli's going to be a guest on the White Rabbit, and that's like a dream come true for me. So I'm really, really juiced about that. Level Playing Poem, man. You guys please go on Amazon, check out her books, or you can go to why am I always drawing a blank when it's most important? charismictruthstore.com. Yes, I made the song and it worked. And check out all of the fire stuff that they have going on. Normally, I would hold up a book that she wrote exposing nuclear weapons, and it's like a nuclear explosion of lies is in the title. And written by Hacking Hoaxes. So if you look that up, that's on Amazon. I would normally hold that up, but I let somebody from my work borrow it actually today, so I don't have it on me. But yeah, go check out her shit. Go check out all of the people on this panel shit. Like they're all doing their own content and it's all amazing. And if you don't want that doom and gloom, it's these people right here. Follow. So I love you guys. Thank you, everybody that showed up in the chat tonight. That is freaking amazing. You guys kept the chat on fire all night. I love it. Thank you so much. And we're going to end this how we always do, and that is everything is fake and gay. And Tom?
Be a good person.
I love it.
Trinity of Truth. The tallest proof. The strange, the weird, the odd, the real. Tom Zames, Divinely Sierra, and Catalyst Jones.